G'day, Bodgies and Widgies. Welcome to the live stream. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm just waiting for the delay and the stream to start on YouTube. I'm just still getting used to this. Give me a sec. All right, we're good. All right, we're live. All right, thank you so much for tuning in. Before we get started with this live stream, we have a look at our awesome guest. As always, let's acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land and the land that we're filming on today as well. But today I wanted to go ahead and do a live stream because it's firstly been a while since I did one and I really enjoy doing them. It's a great way for me to interact with all of you legends. And I also wanted to go ahead and bring a guest on, someone that I've been watching on YouTube recently quite a lot, and she's been making some really amazing videos here based in Australia. So we've got a really awesome fellow Aussie YouTuber, Kaity, who's going to join us in the live stream. Let me bring her in, and hopefully I don't break anything. Kaity, welcome. Can you hear me? Can you see everything?
Yes, yep, it all looks good. I can hear you, I can see you, I can see the comments.
Okay, sweet. All right, good. So early preparation worked out well. Kaity and I have been like waiting in the stream place thing for probably about like half an hour, just like making sure everything is okay, just because me and you guys know my previous streams and technology, we don't really work out well, and I just didn't want to have too much chaos happening in one location at the same time. But Kaity, we'll just see who's in the chat, say hi to them. We've got some regulars like Lazarus the Fish Boy, welcome. We've got Wah. Who's Wah? I haven't seen Wah before, but Wah says Wah, and welcome. We've got Amateur Aquatic Addiction, another regular. G'day. We've got, good to see you. We've got Shani Grady from Boston. Welcome.
Hello.
Is Boston in America? It is.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Is it New York? I think.
I don't know. I've never been to America. I don't follow much America. And then we've got Truxin, another regular. Wah says I'm Wah. That's great. And Craig is also another regular. Welcome, Craig. All right, so Kaity, the plan today is just sort of to do an interview with you. I haven't really done many interviews, so I'll just like throw some questions and then just give whatever answer you feel is necessary. And obviously we've got the audience in. And you guys make sure you bring in all of your questions as well. And that way we've got a lot of questions. Clearly you can tell I don't do this very often because I'm just but let's, so the main thing I wanted to ask is how long have you been keeping aquariums? If you just wanted to talk a little bit about yourself, what got you into keeping fish tanks?
Well, I've been keeping fish for probably like, I think 16 years, I would say. But obviously, like some of that time, I wasn't keeping them properly because I was just a kid. But I don't know. I think that like if I think about the original thing that got me into fish, it would probably be just that we had a pond with goldfish in it. Yeah. But I guess I already like had the interest in them, but I just found them really fascinating, like feeding them. And one of them had little babies too, which was really cool. So Mum and I were feeding them some one day, and then they would always come in like a little line to come and get the food, and then in tow were like these little tiny baby goldfish. So that was really cute. And then I think that like after that, it was probably because I actually ended up keeping some bedders, so some fighting fish as well.
Yep.
That was just pure chance too. So my older brother, he's 8 years older than me. One of his friends actually went out to a party, and I think he was like playing a prank on a girl or something. So he stole her fighting fish. Like,
oh no.
This whole glass like fish tank bowl thing, and the fish and all, and then brought it home and put it in my room, like, and just gave it to me. And so I was like hanging on to this fish for ages, and I just loved having it with me. Like I would sit in my bed and I would just read like fiction books and stuff, and it was really nice company, just like looking over and seeing my little fish there. So I think that came first, and then I think my brother got an African cichlid tank for his 18th birthday. And he would pay me like $20 just to look after the tank each week, like do maintenance, which was a pretty good deal for him. But a lot of money thinking back, if that's like, I don't know, 16 years ago, $20 is pretty good for doing a water change. And then from there, because then I wanted to be like him and have a tank like him. And so Mum and Dad got me a little cheap Kmart tank that I set up. and put some, I think, like mollies and stuff in there, and just like some weeds and stuff from the pond outside, and they all just kept dying, and I just kept replacing my fish. Anyway, that's a really long answer. I could keep going,
that's
but
exactly no, that's exactly what we want. No, that's exactly what we're after. Because it's similar to me in a way, because I have been keeping fish for what, like 13 years, but 13 years is like, I say that because it's like when I started lifting and like carrying my own buckets and doing my own water changes, but I've technically had fish in the family, or like we've, because of my addiction or passion for fish, we've had it ever since I was born, basically. So it's a very similar story. And also it's cool in a way, because when someone asks you like, oh, hey Katie, how did you get your first fish, you can just be like, oh, my brother kidnapped it and brought it home.
And then I think that the rest was history from there. I think, like, I can't think of a time in my life that I haven't had fish since I was little. Like, if you count the pond, then almost my whole life, I guess. And it was quite funny. Like, even through high school, I would have fish tanks in my room, like in my bedroom, and I had like this 6-foot fish tank in my tiny bedroom with an Oscar in it and like a terror and stuff. So
no way.
I've always been into it. Anyways, I should probably look at the chat. I haven't.
Yeah, we should do that, because the chat has taken a huge jump.
Don't want to ignore everyone. Boston's in Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
Okay. I don't know why I thought it was New York. Lazarus. So I can't believe I've never come across Katie before till this morning. Well, that's actually funny you say that, Lazarus, because I've seen your channel before, and I think I've jumped on one of your live streams before as well, just to like leave some comments and stuff. So I've actually watched a few of your things, and I quite enjoy your channel.
Hey, awesome. Rumble's Fish Room is in. Rumble's also a fellow Aussie YouTuber. He's up in WA. He's the flower horn man. What else have we got? So we've already got our first question. Lazarus actually asked, Katie, have you got any of your friends into keeping fish?
Okay, so it's a work in progress. I'm getting there. I've got a couple of friends that are looking at getting into it. So I've got one in Melbourne, actually, who I go and visit sometimes, and she's watched my channel a little bit. And so when she moves into her new house, I'm thinking of maybe flying down there and setting up a tank with her, and maybe doing a video of that. So that'll be fun.
Awesome.
So my family and friends probably won't be here, because maybe they'll see it on my Instagram. So I might do Lisa. Then I've got my friend Maddie as well, on the Gold Coast, and she's like, her partner has always been into, her husband has always been into fish and stuff, I think, but like not really ended up getting too many fish tanks, but he's been thinking about maybe setting one up, and Maddie's kind of interested in it too, but they just had a baby, so I think it'll be a while before they're ready to look after a fish tank. But I'm getting there. I'm slowly converting some people into the fish hobby.
It's so good. Like, I got my my best friend into keeping fish tanks. Like, he's had the interest, but he didn't like fully commit. And it was like one day he found like a Kmart tank like on the side of the road, and he brought it home. And I was like, hey, let's go to the pond like that's behind our house and just like see if we can catch some fish. And we ended up catching like mosquito fish and stuff, bringing it. And from there, he's now progressed. He only keeps like nano tanks, but he's like the best aquascaper that I know. And he now has like high-tech tanks. He's got like plants. His tanks look stunning. And it's so good. And I've got all of my like, little cousins into keeping fish as well. So they're like my little backup colonies for everything. So I'll give them like new plants that I buy, and they can keep them until like, if something eats my plants, I'll be like, hey, give me a stem. I need the colony back. So it's really good. All my guppies, like whenever I get guppies, I'll breed them, and then once I get like the first batch, I'll disperse them throughout them all, so they've all got like little colonies of the same guppy. It's good.
That's really sweet.
It's mainly for my business, but it's good because they really enjoy it as well.
I've got no one like in my direct family who keeps fish, and I don't think anyone will. My sister thought about it, but like that just I don't think that will happen. She's way too busy.
Disappointing. We've also got Galar's Arc. He's in the chat as well. G'day, Galar. I believe he is up in. So Galar's a New Zealand YouTuber. We'll include him in the Aussie YouTube community just because, you know, we're like friends with New Zealand people apparently. No, I'm kidding. And we've then got, who else? Joe Al, welcome, tuning in from the USA. So we've got a pretty decent US turn up. So I think the time zone or the time that we're doing the stream worked out pretty well.
I think it depends where you are, guys.
Yeah.
What time is it where everyone is, if you don't mind saying? So
good question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone say where you're from as well if you haven't already.
Yeah.
Oh, so hang on. Craig's asked, what does Kaity do for a living? I think you asked that at the beginning too, and I missed it.
Oh, I think you did, yeah.
Or it might have been someone else.
No, it was Craig, yeah.
Oh, was it Craig? Okay. Sorry, Craig. So with that, I do tell people what I do for it, but I probably just won't say it on live stream just because of the type of job that it is. And it's not because anyone here, like I trust everyone and stuff, but as you would probably know, sometimes you get like that, there's like that 0.1% of people that I probably wouldn't want knowing that. So I won't say that.
Apprehensive. No, that's all good.
Yeah, to be Kaity.
No, that's all good. Rusi asks, just seeing your live, have you ever kept coolie loaches? I believe that's a question for both of us. So, Kaity, I'll let you go first.
Coolie loaches, no, I haven't, but it's been something that I've wanted to keep. I really love loaches, like all types of loaches. Yo-yo loaches are one of my favorite ones. Yeah, like they're just such perfect fish. So active, so friendly. The only thing that that's put me off with coolie loaches is just that they're so like tiny and skinny, and I like worry about them getting eaten or like getting into places that they shouldn't and stuff. So I'm sure I will at some point, but
exactly. I've got coolie loaches. So I've got the like basic clown coolies, which are like the orange and brown ones, or orange and black stripes, and I've also got brown, like full brown coolies, which get a little bit bigger than the orange and black ones that we're used to. But the original plan was for them to go into my 5-foot aquarium when it used to be planted. But I have an inbuilt sump, and what I didn't realize that the actual like the weir grates of the inbuilt sump might be a bit too big for the coolie loaches. They went. So like I added them in, and then I noticed one like swimming up to the grate, and I'm like, nah, this isn't good. So I spent like an hour trying to catch them all out after that. And then they went into their own separate tank.
Yeah, that's what I fear as well. And even like before that, not having a sump, like having only canister filters, I think it's just because the type of fish I keep. I normally keep like cichlids and stuff, or more predatory, medium-sized fish. And I was like, I feel like coolie loaches are a good nano fish.
They are, yeah. I wouldn't go for anything better than that. Like even with this tank, technically, if the fish was to go into the sump, it might just find a way back out because the sump like doesn't drain into the bottom of the tank or anything. It's like built into the tank, so it's like one of those all-in-one type systems. So if it went in, it could probably find its way out, but I didn't want to take that risk.
Yeah. Oh, that's so interesting. So, what is that called, a sump? Like, if it is all internal, like.
Yeah, it's internal. So I'm not sure if I do that. So basically, that entire section, all the way to the back, it's almost just like a big box, and it's got three different it's got 3 chambers. So the first one is like filter salt, drains down, and then the second one is media, and the third one is heater and returns, and the return paper.
I've only seen that. Yeah, I think I've seen them in the water box little setups, like the Peninsula.
The Cube 20s and Peninsulas. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's say hi to everyone. Oh, so let's have a look at what time it is. So it's 3:10. So you must be from somewhere that's not Queensland in Australia then, because we don't have daylight savings here.
Well, I'm in daylight savings, but it's weird.
Yeah, that was so confusing.
Exactly. Funko. Actually, let me jump back. Funko Pops. Hi, how are you guys? Welcome, Funko Pops. Cool. And then, Kaity, Amateur Aquatic Addiction asks you, do you have any saltwater tanks, or have you kept saltwater tanks before?
I have a while back. So the first saltwater tank I kept, I think it was for my 17th birthday. My mum and dad got it for me, and it was just a couple of seahorses. But I think I only had it for like maybe 3 or 4 months. I'm pretty sure that I had trouble getting the seahorses to eat. So like one died, then the other one died. And then I just find with salt water, the extra step of having to add the salt into the water or go and like get salt water from the ocean, it kind of puts me off doing water changes a little bit. It's like a bit of a barrier for me. So I tend to not fare so well, I find, with salt water. Because I did attempt it again, I think during COVID. I started up a little nano one and it cost me so much money, even though it was a tiny one. I think with reef tanks, it's always the way. And it's actually kind of harder, I think, having a smaller one too, because then, like, I don't know, things get thrown off balance a lot quicker, like easier. I just tried keeping a clownfish pair, some like soft corals or easy to care for corals in there, and it just didn't take my interest, and so I just ended up selling it to someone for a good deal.
That's probably the best way to go. Like, I've got 2 saltwater tanks at the moment. Both of them are nanos. Like, one's just a basic 10-gallon nano, but it's like my zoanthid, like my coral grow out tank, so it's almost like a frag tank. And then the other one is like a little mixed reef. So it's a 40 centimeter it's a 40 centimeter cube mixed reef, and there's like SPS, LPS, and softies in there. And that tracks pretty well. Like, I'm really enjoying saltwater just because like I've done so much with fresh that I wanted like a little bit of a change, and saltwater's been a good break into that. But now I've just like clicked. I've had this like reawakening of freshwater aquariums now, where I just want to get so many different fish. It's been good.
Yeah. You know, I reckon if I was to do a saltwater aquarium again, I know what I would do though. I really like the shallow reefs. So I think I would like to like something almost like a rock pool kind of thing, and to make it look really naturalistic. Because the saltwater too, I'm not super attracted to like lots of different bright corals like all over the place. Sometimes I find it's a neon and too like overbearing. Whereas I think I would really like a kind of natural coral rock pooly look. And you could probably get some really nice colours, I would assume, with corals if you had shallow water, if it's similar to
exactly. Yeah. Actually, like with this tank over here, that's a 4 foot by 2 foot wide, and it's only a foot tall. And there's an inbuilt sump as well. But like, this system was technically designed for coral fragging. So it's like the perfect frag system because it's all in one. At the moment, it's planted and it's got discus and some tropical fish in it. But the intention, like when we move into a new fish room later down the track, was either to make this like a really shallow reef, or just look at having like a full-blown just frag tank. But yeah, it's like that kind of tank would be perfect for that sort of idea.
Definitely. Yeah, you can get some nice Aqua One shallow tanks these days too.
Exactly.
But yeah, they're really nice.
Some more comments. Give your friends free fish and plants regularly, and they should consider a fish tank. I mean, I feel like they should set up the fish tank, lads, before you give them free fish and plants. Where are they going to put everything? Zen Ginger is in. Bodgie, hey Zen Ginger. Baby, wow, the chat has done such a massive jump here, and I'm just like trying to read through it all one second.
I know, I'm trying to keep up with it, because that's the one thing when I'm watching a live stream, I get so annoyed. I'm like typing comments or asking questions, and I'm like, stop talking, look at the chat. I want you answer.
Okay, let me just quickly catch up. Funko Pops asks, do you know Sanjay? Yeah, I do. He's one of my little cousins. He's Bodgie Junior in my YouTube videos. All my little cousins have been in some of my YouTube videos in the past, because they all like fish tanks. And we sort of do like this annual thing where they come over for like my birthday. And since the fish room changes so much in like the course of a year, they go around and like pick their favorite fish and favorite tank. And it's really great because like you can see how they all grow up over the years, but also like how their like opinions change, because it used to be like all the big fish, and now since they've learnt like how to care for certain fish, they know certain fish, like the species names. They're like, oh, I really like that one because it's rare, and like, oh, you guys, awesome.
Oh, that's really sweet. Yeah, it's funny how your taste changes over time, like the type of fish that you're into.
Yeah, exactly. Dylan White has been asking, has anyone been able to breed red-tail sharks? And if so, any tips and tricks? No, I've got a red-tail shark. I haven't bred them, but I feel like they would be an egg-scattering fish, because they're like in the cyprin. They're like related to goldfish, so I feel like they might breed in a similar fashion. But that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Katie, a question for you.
Hmm.
So you mentioned like your brother started keeping African cichlids like for his 18th. Was that the why you were interested in them, or is like are you keeping African cichlids at the moment just because that's like the main focus of fish you want to try and keep, or is it like what reason do you have that African cichlid tank?
Well, it's interesting because I was really into them when he kept them. Like I loved them, how they all looked different, in different
Yeah,
colors and stuff. Like as a kid, I thought that was really cool because then I could name them all different things and they all stand out. But then the tank was too small and they killed each other off, so that was a bit
yeah,
sad. And then after that, I did that seahorse tank I had. I actually turned it into an African cichlid tank for peacock
yeah,
cichlids. Again, it was too small though. I think it was only like a 50-gallon or something like that.
yeah,
But I just got little ones. But even then, I didn't keep them for long. I think I had them for like 2 months and then I sold them. I think I
yeah,
ended up selling the whole tank with them and everything. And I just wasn't into peacock cichlids because I didn't
yeah.
understand that the Lake Malawi cichlids my brother had were actually all Mbuna. And I was
Oh, right.
fascinated by them because of like the way that they would interact with each other and dig and
Yeah,
hide and stuff. And I just kind of like how they look a little bit better too.
yeah,
And I just didn't realize that because I just went to the aquarium store and I was like, oh, I want African cichlids, so show me them. And
yeah,
so I got
yeah,
peacock ones, and
yeah,
yeah. But then in terms of keeping them again, it was actually because I kept discus for a little while because
yeah,
I was into that kind of simple look where it was a
yeah,
bare bottom tank and just some driftwood and some plants, but really bright fish. And
yep,
I just found that with discus, it was just too disheartening. Like I would grow them
yeah,
out and then something would happen and I wouldn't understand like why one would get sick. And then it
mm,
would be a huge loss because you've spent so much money and so much time like
exactly.
looking after these
Yeah,
fish and so much effort and everything. So I was like, how can I get something that's similar where it's a simplistic kind of setup, but really nice, beautiful, bright fish in there? And then I was like,
yeah,
oh, African cichlids are perfect. Like they'll
yeah,
have some great, which I actually do like a little bit more on the bare bottom look, but then I can just have some white rock in there. I don't have to worry about plants and stuff. And the fish can just be the center of the aquarium. So
yeah,
I came
yeah.
full circle in that way.
Oh, that's really good because, like, pre-YouTube days, like, I used to really enjoy keeping African cichlids.
Mm,
Through like, I've also had the 5 foot tank behind me with peacocks before, like on YouTube. But I
mhm.
really used to enjoy keeping the Tanganyikan cichlids, and especially like all the big haps, like all the more predatory
I love
African
those ones.
cichlids. They're
Yeah. Mhm.
they're so nice,
Yeah.
and for me, I'm always attracted to all of those, like, really boring, dull-looking fish, the ones that have, like, the scribbly patterning, they don't have bright colors, but they're sort of, like they
Mhm.
look really menacing, for me,
Yeah.
which is why I spent so much money on the lungfish, like, it's just a big, long, brown fish, right? But
Yeah.
it's just, like, they just have so much, like, personality and behavior that I really
Yeah.
enjoy watching. And
No.
yeah, so I was like neck deep in African cichlids at one point, and then I was like, no, I want South American cichlids now. So
Mhm.
from there, the 5 foot tank just evolved. But
Mhm.
yeah, I'm a
No,
huge fan.
I totally agree with you on that with fish. Like, I don't sit on either side
Yeah,
of the fence. Like, I think with
yeah,
discus, I was like, oh, I want them to be colorful, but now I probably prefer just the natural ones better. Or I've always been like that
yeah,
with ram cichlids. I've always just liked the Bolivian butterfly rams opposed to some of the bright.
exactly. Yeah, yeah,
And like I've got my peninsula tank too, and I've got some more plain fish in there. Like I've got the bichar
yeah.
and then
The
the
new tank. Yeah,
leperonas and stuff. And yeah,
yeah,
so I don't know. There's always something you can find to appreciate, whether it's like the color or like just
exactly.
fish itself, its personality.
Yeah, it's like at the moment the 5 foot tank. It's just because the sort of recurring thing that happens on my channel is I sort of set up the 5 foot tank full of plants, or I get like a bunch of community fish. 6 months down the line, I totally change it and add in a bunch of like dull, boring fish into it.
Yeah.
And then I like move it back into plants, and then like it just I always like keep coming back to those big, dull fish. So at the moment, I'm like, no, I'm settled. The lungfish is going in the 5 foot tank. I'm getting a bunch of big, but just fish that I enjoy keeping and stuff that isn't too colorful.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like just the most random collection hodgepodge of different fish, but it just works
Mhm.
out really well.
Mhm. No,
Yeah.
that's good.
Have you ever considered keeping like shell dwellers or the little nano African cichlids, or is it
No.
just like mainly the more bigger, brighter, colorful ones?
Yeah, no, I don't know. There's something about like the shell dwellers that just doesn't appeal as much to me for some reason.
Yeah.
I think I like more medium to large fish generally, I find.
Yeah.
I've kept like some nano tanks, but it never sticks. Like even with shrimp and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know
Don't
why.
even get me started on shrimp. Oh boy.
Yeah, well, it's not like, I mean, it might be to do with the maintenance because I feel like
Yeah.
it's such a chore when it's a nano tank for some reason because I can't just put a
Yeah.
pump in and leave it, then fill it back up. But yeah, I think that it's like I like fish that I can really interact with and really see.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I don't know if I'd ever go down that path, but it doesn't mean that I wouldn't keep Tanganyika and cichlids though, because there's some I really, really like.
Yeah.
That I've been seeing around, like the lay lupi, I think they're called. I love them. They're beautiful.
And Adrian's orange lay lupi in his fish room,
Oh
like
gosh,
I've
yeah,
never seen them before,
gorgeous.
and now
Yeah,
he's got like purple, and they're like
yeah.
they're breeding true as well.
Oh,
Oh
it's
my God.
incredible. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, that's really cool. The chat has it done it's done a big jump again. Let's catch up on it.
Okay.
Um,
Whereabouts are you up to reading it? Because I was trying to read
I'm up
along before and I
to
couldn't see where you were.
so I'm up to when I scroll on the chat, does it like scroll for you as well?
Oh, I
Okay.
haven't been trying. Try
Oh,
scroll.
no, all good. No, that's
Okay.
all good. So I'm up to Craig's comment. So another new aquarium opened up near my place, Easy Aquariums in Epping. I actually saw that. So there's a new aquarium store opening in a suburb here in Melbourne. And they were doing like a really big opening. So they had like a bunch of like gifts and stuff that they were giving away, stickers, like raffles and all that. So that sounded pretty good. Actually, in recent times, I've noticed that there's a lot more like home breeders that are starting to come up, like on social media as well. Like on Instagram, I'm seeing so many like local Australian breeders that are starting to make pages, little websites where they can like sell fish and whatnot. I think it's really cool because it just opens up like way more availability of like different fish, home bred fish as well. So you know they're like tank hardened and everything. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, well, with the auction, there was so many people selling their homebred fish there, like so many.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Amateur aquatic addiction. I've tried some corals now, and something eats them. No more for this tank. Foul for the moment. Amateur aquatic addiction. You didn't tell me you had a saltwater tank. Oh wait, did you? I can't remember if you did, but I feel like I don't remember you having the saltwater tank. But all good. Ruzi asks, "Hey Blake, how's the little family?" Oh, Blake has got. How old is he now, Blake? The little guy. Is he 20 days old? Blake just had a son, little Harry.
Yes.
Tiny little human, but yeah. Bodgies taste changes weekly. Shush, Blake. When Kaity started her channel and how did she promote it? Take us away, Kaity. When did you start your channel?
I think I started it about a year ago, maybe that. I think, yeah, maybe my first video was probably just October, like a year ago. And I wasn't talking or anything. I was just showing my African cichlid tank when they were just all little babies with some music. It was like a 1 minute long video. And I really just did it because I like making videos. I always have. And I was like, oh, I'll share it with YouTube and just put it out there. And then I think that it took until December holidays, so last year, like 10 months ago, to do my first like talking video. And I thought I would do a review on the water box because when I was looking at buying one, I didn't really see many reviews and stuff of the clear pro model I got. So I was like, this could be quite helpful for people to see. So then I did that, and then I was absent for like another 3 months. I think I then just started making a couple of review videos just here and there, like if it was something I thought would add value in some way. And then I got more serious about it like probably in May. So like 5 months ago, I would say it's been. And I was just getting nice comments and feedback from people and some ideas and stuff. And then I think the video that did it was I did one about like color feeding my African cichlids. And I was actually, I think I went to Melbourne and I think I put, was it, I don't know if that was then, I think I had like a auto feeder thing and maybe I did a video on that, and then I did one about color feeding, and it was like those two videos that I did when I came back from Melbourne that did a little bit better. And then someone said you should totally do like a store tour or something. So I went to Mad Aquariums, which is a local and did a vlog there, and then that did quite well. And so then I just started kind of trying to upload at least like once a week since then. And I had the Instagram that I had always been posting on since I think the beginning of this year as well, just here and there, just some reels and photos. So I haven't done anything to promote my channel, really just uploading things that I think are of value, making real, relationships and connections and stuff with people, making it just about sharing passion, I guess, and doing it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's like the most natural way of progression, because that way you're sort of not like relying on anyone else for growth. Like the growth that happens on your channel is all because of like the hard work that you've put in. So yeah, that's really good. And then Dylan has a question. I have a massive 4.5-inch female, about 2 years old, and I've had multiple males, but she chases them and ends up stressing them out, even in a 160-liter tank. If you heard of anyone breeding them, any info? Oh, I think this was about the red-tail sharks. Red-tail, yeah. Dylan, from my experience keeping red-tail sharks and rainbow sharks, because they're very closely related, they're just incredibly territorial. Because I've had multiple of both species before. I feel like if you were honestly going to try and breed them, I just think that an aquarium, it just wouldn't be like the most practical setting. Or even if you were to breed them in an aquarium, I feel like it'd have to be like a 4-foot tank or bigger, and you'd probably just have to load the bottom up with spawning mops and like caves and stuff, just so they can't really see each other. Because I think in the or like where red-tailed sharks and rainbow sharks are bred in captivity, I think it's in like natural ponds, in like the tropical countries. So it's just like big mud ponds that they throw them into and just let them breed naturally, and then harvest them at the end of the season. So I don't really think there's much like real effort that they sort of put into breeding them. And honestly, just some fish, they just won't breed in a glass tank. It's just more of a natural pond setting that's probably better for them.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Shady Grady asks, oh yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I missed Ruzy's question as well. So Ruzy said, hey Katie, how's your new tank going with the sump, and how have you found it having a sump this time instead of a canister filter? So that's actually a good question, because I was thinking of maybe doing a video on that at some point, because it's definitely got its pros, but its downfalls as well. Like the thing with a canister filter that I like is that it's just set and forget. Like there's no stress involved really, except for that you've got to clean it every now and then, and that's a bit annoying. Whereas the sump is good in that it's really easy. If you want to cycle a new tank, you can just get in there, grab media. You don't have to open anything up. I guess that's the good part. You can put fish in there too, like baby fish or fish that are too small that you want to grow out and stuff in there. But then the annoying part about a sump is actually trying to not prime it. What's the word? It's like when you try and make it so that
get like the overflow going.
Yeah, it's because if you don't have it basically set so that the pump is pumping the water back into the tank at the same speed that it's coming down into the sump, then it can get a bit noisy. So you've got to tune it. Tune it. Yeah.
Tune it. Okay, cool.
That's been a little bit annoying, I find, and then worrying about like it running dry. So you've always got to make sure that you're either topping it up or you've got like a auto top up tank for it. So a sump is definitely a little bit more stress, I think, but I'm waiting to have it for a bit longer because I'm so new to it that it's probably just also my lack of experience, I think, in having one that's contributing. But I don't know if you would agree what your thoughts are like on sumps versus canister filters.
Yeah, I think like, no, I think it's totally the same with you, just because I haven't still yet like run a full-blown sump. I mean, even the inbuilt sump is technically just like a big internal filter. And even with this, I think I prefer an external canister filter compared to the inbuilt sump. Because I have like run canister filters basically for my whole hobby and still yet to run a proper external sump. So I feel like the advantages that you can get from a sump are still like pretty good. In a saltwater system, like since I've been keeping tanks, I feel like a sump is probably just the way to go. In a freshwater tank though, I just feel like a canister filter has just got so many added benefits. But when you're running like multiple tanks, or if you've got like a huge system, then maybe a sump is probably going to be better.
Yeah, for sure.
Actually, one question I did have with tuning. So when you tune your sump, do you control the amount of water that the pump outputs, or the amount of water that flows into the drain, like the overflow?
It's both.
Oh, okay, right.
So Cam taught me this from Gallery Poker. So really, I hope I get this right. I think that you open the overflow up as much as possible so that all the water is cascading down into the sump at like it's full speed, and then you choose with your pump what level and strength you want your pump to be on, and then you go from there. So once your pump is on however many liters per hour you want, then you slowly tune the overflow so that it's not letting as much water down into the sump until it should end up being completely quiet, if you've got two different pipes. So I think you get some sumps, I don't think you would get them often anymore, where I think they've only got one pipe that goes down, and then it's more difficult to tune it. But my one, it has like a system, I'm probably not going to explain it right because I don't fully understand it, but it's got like one intake that's lower than the other, and it's meant to...
so it's like, is the taller one like the emergency drain? So it's like...
it acts as that, but then it also acts as a way to like silence it or something.
Okay. Right.
So that's why it's so annoying tuning it, and then every time you change it you have to wait, so you'll like move it a little bit, let some less water down, then you have to sit and wait and make sure that there's no air coming through and stuff, and then you've got to move it a little bit more. So I think you get better at it the more you do it though, because I'll sit there for ages and do it, and then when we moved my tanks I asked Cam to retune it and he just did it straight away. Like without
it's probably just like experience and just because he's probably done so many tanks as well. He probably just knows like, oh, this pump, all right, do that. We're set and done. That's it's crazy. Shady Grady asks, Katie, have you ever tried breeding fish or do you just have display tanks?
Yeah, I've never tried to breed fish. Like I've had some fish breed by accident. I've had like an axolotl that came home with me and it had like eggs that were fertilized because they get fertilized while they're like inside them, and then it had all these babies. So that was my first experience with like fish in a tank. And then I think my African cichlids, they bred as well before I was color feeding them, and I've got one little fry that grew out in my tank that survived. But I've never tried to intentionally breed fish. Just display tanks.
Me at the moment, just like everything decided to breed all of a sudden today. I've just got so many fish that I'm dealing with, like the guppies, the cherry barbs, the plecos have given me like 60 something little babies. I didn't count them, but there's so many. Like they've completely blanketed the floor of the breeder box. And I don't know what color pleco they are because I've in that tank. I've got normal bristlenose, which are all at breeding size. I've got super red bristlenose, but I don't know if they're a male and a female because they're still pretty small. And then I've also got lemon blue eye bristlenose as well. And I think the super reds and the lemon blue eyes are still too small to breed. But when I have a look at the babies, about 70% of them are white, and then a little bit of them are like brown, and some of them are black. So I don't know if it's just like they're all needing to color up since they're also like new. But like I didn't expect albinos because all of them are normal brown, like generic black bristlenose, and then the rest I thought were too small. So I'm just gonna have to wait to see until they grow up and see what happens.
Oh, it's so cool. Yeah, it's weird how genes work like that. That was like my pigs. I had like a brown one and a grey one have babies, and then they all came out white. Well, two of them were pigs? Like white. Guinea pigs.
Oh, guinea pigs. I was like, wait, pigs? Okay.
So weird. Sometimes it's like this gene that you don't know about that's somewhere in history that just randomly comes out.
I love genetics, especially in fish. It's so fun. Having another question from Ruzi. Have you ever kept black ghost knives? They're so awesome and fascinating to watch. Yeah, definitely. Katie? If you don't have one, it might be a cool fish to put in the new tank.
Yeah, I've kept them a couple times. Only once properly though. Like I used to think they were cool when I was younger, and then I would get one and I would look after it properly and stuff. But I did grow one out with my discus. They grow so quickly, like it's crazy.
Yeah.
It went from like that size to like that size within like 5 months, I would say, maybe.
Right.
So yeah, they're very cool. It was really sad though. I think that mine had some type of like cancer or like tumor or something maybe, because something just started to grow on it and then it kind of took over. And so that was pretty sad because really nice fish.
Yeah, exactly. I think actually that brings up a really interesting point because this is something that I always tend to talk a lot about when it comes to like sudden fish deaths, and that is like things that we just completely have out of our control, like tumors. Because I had a betta once that I had him for like the longest time, and he was such a beautiful fish. And then he started developing a tumor on the side of his body. And it's like you just don't think about these things when you keep fish. And even if you don't like visibly see it, it could have like a tumor on the inside or some sort of cancerous growth, and you never realize until it passes away, and you're like, oh, maybe I've done something wrong, but it's just no, the fish.
Yeah, no, well, they're just like people. Like fish just get illnesses sometimes like that you can't cure. Like I had a Bolivian ram pair. I don't know if they weren't like a breeding pair, but they lived together. And one just suddenly died one day, but then the other one lived over 3 years.
Yeah.
And kept in the same tank and everything. So sometimes that just happens, and you just can't explain it.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, for your overflow, I think Blake says you should look at setting up a bean animal overflow. Because I think with overflows, there's like 3 different names or like the type of overflow system that you have.
Yeah.
And bean animal is one of them that I've heard. I don't know who comes up with the names for these things.
I was going to say it's a cute name.
Yeah, bean animal. Ruzi is killing it with these questions. Have you thought about getting a filter roller or something else, so you don't have to change multiple filter socks every couple of days to week?
Yes, yeah, I was late to the party on that one because I'm not really into reefs, so I was like all excited about getting filter socks, and then I found out that no one likes filter socks. I was like, what?
Oh no! Yeah, I've got a filter. Oh yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, and then I did see these filter roller things that I'd never seen before in my life until people started mentioning them. But yeah, it looks like, I don't know, they look like a lot of effort to like set up though.
It's surprising because I saw like the 5-foot tank. I run a filter sock in there, and it's the pain, like the biggest pain. I always forget to clean it, and it gets like caked up just with like detritus. But I actually did see, so Red Sea, one of the big saltwater companies, they've made their own filter roller. The really good thing about Red Sea products is they sort of wait until everyone has released their own version of a product, see what flaws there are, and then they design their product like a couple of years later. So the Red Sea filter roller, I saw it in person at the Underwater Pet Expo, like being set up and like how you change the rolls. And it looks really simple. It's sort of just like a lever that you open, and the roll is just like a dip. So you just pull it. It's almost like changing out toilet paper. And then you just pull the lever back, you crank it back, and it just like locks in place. But it seems like a really good filter roller option. They're all really pricey, but I feel like just for the amount of work they do for you, it sort of seems worth it, in my opinion.
Yeah. And so do you still have to replace it though? Like the roll, it's just easier and cheaper than a sock? Or?
Yeah, like once the roll, because with filter rollers, it's sort of in a way, you don't have to replace it as often as you do with filter socks, because it's almost like once every week to a couple of days with a filter sock. But with a filter roller, it apparently will last for like a good few months if it's set up correctly. So and the other thing is, like with the filter sock, because it's still like in the water, the detritus is still technically making regular contact with your water, so it could result in like your nitrates and stuff increasing. But with the filter roller, it like captures all of that detritus and rolls it up in like the dirty roll, and it's outside of the tank. So it's like not in contact with your water. So that way it seems pretty good.
Yeah, you do not want to see my filter socks.
If I get mine out, it will just be muck, brown muck.
Yeah, mine are literally brown. Like it's bad. Yeah. I didn't know how often you're meant to clean them. I've had them in there for over a month now. So
actually, one hack or tip that I can recommend for that is, so I don't use socks anymore. I actually use like plastic pots, just like little plastic pots that are the diameter of your like hole for the filter sock, and I fill them up with polyester. Like, you know, the pillows at Kmart that are like $2 or $3. They're full of just natural polyester. So actually, let me show you.
Yeah, that's actually.
So I haven't even like bothered taking. Oh, actually, that's a pillow. I've just like mangled it. But yeah, it's just like full of polyester, and it lasts so long.
Is that like using filter floss? Like, you know?
Yeah, it's basically what it is, because filter floss is 100% polyester, but at aquarium stores they charge an arm and a leg for it, and it's a lot more coarse in my opinion. Whereas this is like really dense and fine stuff, and it's just 100% natural polyester pillows.
Yeah, well, that's what I did last night. I took the socks out because they were so dirty, and I've just like stuffed filter floss in there because I was like, fucking around with everything. So there was heaps of like debris and like detritus and stuff in the water. So I was like, I just need to filter floss it and get it out.
Exactly. And what I actually do, especially after I do water changes as well, is like, because it just stirs up so much detritus when all the fish are moving around, the water's dropped, and I clean out the inbuilt sump and everything. I started using an effluent, so it's like basically a chemical that you add into the water, and it binds up like all the detritus, like the really fine stuff, and makes it into like bigger particles, and then it like gets captured in your filtered salts or roller or whatever you use. The one I use specifically is the Dimax Clear X powder, and it comes in like little sachets. I think it's like $19 for 5, but it works so well. It's just it's really good with just clarifying your water.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that sounds good.
Oh, the chat has done a massive jump again. Oh my god. You can control the gate valve, so it's only drawing water down that pipe and have the rest of the water running down a second pipe. Right, cool. That's some talk. Just I'm done. What happened?
I know what you're talking about, Rosie. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, the bean animal has 3 pipes running to the sump. Okay, so you got a primary with the gate valve, a secondary overflow, and a right. Amateur aquatic addiction. What happened to the talk video? That'll be coming out after we finish the live stream. So I did a public talk at the Underwater Pet Expo about beginner saltwater aquariums, and I was going to release it on YouTube, but since it was like a 40-minute talk, it just got so long to like render it and upload it onto YouTube. And I thought that I'm going to edit this and make it like this really awesome, edited, well put together talk. I was like, no, I can't do this. So I just like cut out places where I just like paused or had a technical difficulty and just uploaded the whole thing. But it'll come out like after we finish this thing. Natural polyester. 100% natural man-made. Natural synthetic polyester. What I mean is sometimes they have like scents or like
chemicals.
Chemicals in them. Like I know the pillows, you can get like scented pillows that they smell like lavender and stuff. Just get like natural, non-scented polyester. It'll have it on the label. Okay, give me a break. The Red Sea filter roller is amazing, but only works on saltwater tanks because of the water level sensor. The Bubble Magus or the DD Clarity filter roller are good ones for. Okay, the Clarity I've heard some interesting reviews about, because apparently it's really great for like the first 1 to 2 years, like the first 1 to 2 roll changes, and after that it sort of like destroys itself. Apparently that's what I've heard, but I haven't done a lot of research. The Bubble Magus Magnus though, I've heard some good stuff about. So that might be a good consideration.
Yeah, I don't know if I would ever get a filter roller or not. I'll have to look into it.
Exactly. I feel like it's one of those things that you'll need to do like a lot of research about, because the last thing you need is to buy it just like not working, and then you've got like this expensive filter roller that you got to sell or just like keep on hand. Yeah. And Katie, you all good to continue going or anything like that? Yeah, cool.
No,
Sweet. Sweet. Cool.
I got my coffee. I'm like trying to drink it, but it's so hard like to talk and drink.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Coffee break. Go for it. Okay, one question I had for you is, what was your favorite, or what is, if you currently have it, or what would be like your favorite African cichlid / just fish to keep in general, like your dream fish?
Oh my gosh. For African cichlids, it would be a toss-up between, this will be very broad, but like between the Mbuna and the haps. I mean, the poor peacock cichlids, they are nice.
You paused there for a second. Did you mind repeating that again? Sorry.
Oh, yeah. So it would be a toss-up between, like, I'll start broad. Like, I like the, for African cichlids, Mbuna or haps, I would say, like, more over the peacock cichlids. Cool. I would probably say, I really like my red top hongy that I've got, that Mbuna.
Yeah.
Actually, what I use like for the color scheme of my logo for the Kaity cichlids thing that that my cousin made for me. So I think that one like would probably be one of my favorites. But then like favorite fish in general, man, I don't know. Like I like biches. I'm not good at picking favorites with things because I don't know. It's too hard to choose. But
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. No, I
Just
agree.
generically that I know that I like medium to large size fish, I would
Yeah.
say. And things that either look colourful or have a nice personality, or look unique in some way.
Yeah. So you currently have the one Senegal in your water box, right? The new tank?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Blake has 3 Senegals that he got, I believe he got like last year, and they've grown like really chunky. And there's people that are breeding them here as well. Like I saw on Gumtree, there was a person that had started breeding them in Queensland, I think.
Yeah.
And they were like little tiny baby Senegals, but it's so cool. I've always wanted to get the ornate Baisha, just
Oh,
because they
yeah.
get like much bigger than the Senegals, and they're like black,
Yes.
white with like a little bit of yellow mixed in.
Oh, cool.
Um, but only reason I haven't got one is because my mum, she just doesn't like lizard-looking things. Like she's got like a phobia of lizards.
Oh, no.
So like when I, yeah, like when I got my lungfish, even now she's like terrified when she sees it. She thinks it's gonna like
Oh,
jump out of the tank and like latch onto her face or something. And I'm like, Mum, chill. It's not gonna do anything.
it's
It's
such
like
a
the
cute
cutest
thing.
little. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's
I
so
want to
adorable.
do
And she's like,
something.
yeah, uh,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, well,
hilarious.
I like lizards, so I guess that's why I like the more prehistoric
Yeah.
looking too.
Oh, I love, yeah, exactly. I'm a big fan of reptiles. I'd love to keep
Mm.
a lizard. And my sister now, she's like getting that, like she really wants a bearded dragon. And I've
Oh,
wanted one for the longest time as well. And
yeah.
since I've seen like your bearded dragon, I'm like,
Yeah.
Mum, can we like, you'll never see it. We'll just get a bearded dragon and we'll like hide it somewhere.
Yeah, they're so
uh,
peaceful too. Like, they're such friendly little creatures.
yeah. I've always wanted to get like a big monitor lizard or like a freshwater crocodile. Obviously space, but like a monitor lizard just looks so cool, like a Bell's phase lace monitor or something.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, imagine having like a pet dinosaur. That's just like so cool.
Yeah, it would be cool to have, like, a really big pond, I reckon, like a huge
Yeah,
pond, and then you could have, like, your big lizards and stuff in there as well. Like a little, yeah, like
yeah,
oasis.
exactly. It'd look awesome. Like, well, with the lungfish, since it'll get probably about 4 feet when it's fully grown.
Yeah.
It's about 3.5 to 4. Sometimes they can go a little bit bigger.
Mhm.
So like I'll need a big tank for this guy. So it'll
Oh my
probably
god,
have to be something
yeah.
like 10 feet by 6 or 7 feet. 10 feet by 8 feet would be like the perfect minimum tank. I feel like just because of how big they get. And he swims around surprisingly. Like I haven't noticed it now, but earlier on he was like doing laps
I
around,
think I
like
did see
across
him,
the end.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where is he now? He's probably in his corner.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's got it. So there's like
Uh,
a half.
yeah,
Is he down
yeah.
the bottom?
I think I
Is he
saw him in that little corner, like above where your
that
name
one?
is. I saw him around there.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. He's probably that's like there he is. He's gonna start
Oh.
doing another lap around. You'll see him up the top. There he is. He's coming
Oh, yeah, I see
across.
him.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. Anyways,
Yeah.
let's stop getting
We've got
sidetracked.
there's a place called Currumbin Wildlife Sanctuary here, on the Gold
Yep.
Coast, and they've got heaps of lungfish there, like huge ones. They're so cool.
Like wild, or is it? Yeah, because it's a
Um,
wildlife sanctuary,
I
right?
think
Or
they
is
were
it
from
like a zoo?
yeah, I can't remember. There was a whole story behind how they ended up with them, but I
Oh,
think something
okay.
happened and they rescued them or something, and now they're keeping them there.
Yeah. So is it like a zoo, like the Currumbin Wildlife Sanctuary? Is it? Oh, okay. Cool. Cool.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so they've got all, like, native Australian animals and stuff. I think it's,
Yeah.
like, rehabilitation,
Yeah.
and things like that, I think, yeah.
Yeah. The Sea Life Melbourne Aquarium, they have 2 Australian lungfish. That was
Oh,
like the first time where I like physically, because they've had them for a while actually, I feel like.
mm,
But a few years back when I went and saw them for the first time, I was like, oh my God, I really need to keep this fish. Like
oh,
it's like it comes up to the surface, it breathes air, it's like older than dinosaurs. What?
oh, that's so
Um,
cool.
yeah, and then I tried searching for one, and I just found that like you could never find one because they were illegal to keep until recently. I think there's only one company that's got a license to go ahead and harvest very select individuals from the wild and then breed them in captivity.
Mhm.
And he's like microchipped like a dog as well, and he's got a little certificate.
No
So
way.
it's yeah, it's crazy. I'll show you his birth certificate. Oh,
Yeah.
ow. Okay, so that is the certificate that he comes with,
Oh, that
and
is
he's got
cool.
his microchip number. Let
Yeah.
me see if I can bring that up closer.
Uh-huh. Oh,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
and yeah, so And I got him on my birthday. So like he's on like the date here. It's a day before my birthday. So like my birthday's on the 17th, and he was like he was microchipped on the 16th. So it's like a really cool, like I can just grow up along with him. It's
that's really sweet.
Yeah.
And so how long do they live for?
The oldest one recorded in captivity is 80 something or above that. I think, or I don't know if they've had it for 80 years and it was like caught in the wild before that, and like who knows how long it could have been. But there's a chance like he'll end up outliving me. So.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yeah, it's cool in a way. It's just like your legacy in a fish.
Yeah. Oh, how awesome!
Exactly. Yeah, and that's why I just like have this massive inclination to just like big, massive predator looking fish. Except he's really peaceful. Yeah.
Cool.
And any other questions, guys? That we've got? Oh, we've got another one.
I think it's moved a little bit.
Anything?
So, hang on. Liquid Zoo Only Fin said, "This is awkward. I just found this girl a few hours ago. It was recommended and added her to Fish Fan link. Now she's on here. What is Fish Fan?
I've never heard of Fish Fam either. What is Fish Fam?
Well, that's cool.
Unless it's like a fish YouTuber sharing page. Never heard of it. Please link it if you can.
Yeah,
only
please do.
Liquid Zoo person.
Yeah, tell us more about it. Be cool.
Yeah. And so do you have any other plans, Kaity, in terms of like fish that you want to get for your new tank, or fish that you're thinking about adding into the cichlid tank, or any sort of ideas like that?
Probably rainbow fish is the main thing at the moment for the peninsula tank. Yeah, I'm so keen to fill it up with heaps of different types and like smaller ones and grow them out and stuff. I think that's going to look really cool.
How are the praecox from Nick's store doing?
That's the one fish that everyone keeps asking me about, and it's the one fish that I had a little bit of a problem with. So nothing to do with Nick, but I had 5 of them and 2 died, and it's my fault. It's the only fish I've actually had in the tank that's died, and everyone keeps asking about that one in particular.
Oh no, sorry.
I felt really bad. Yeah, because I wasn't being careful enough, and I put them in my quarantine tank, and I had like all of my fish in there, my blue acaras, the biter and stuff, and it's a pretty small tank. Just I wasn't ready to put them into the big one like at that time. But I think the combination of like having them go from the shop, because I think he probably moved them from like out back into the front, and then I've taken them, had them in the bag for 8 years, and then I put them in this new tank like that's pretty overstocked with all of these like big fish and stuff. And I think that the stress just like got them worn down, and probably like the change in parameters and stuff, and then they've just not fed. So I lost one, and then I lost another one like a day after, but then the other 3 have been beautiful. Like they've been so good, and they're growing well, and they're like really healthy and stuff. So that was my bad.
No, things happen. Like it's well, I mean, they were all males, so you can maybe see if Nick. Were they were all males, right?
I think they were all male.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, just see if you can get some females, and then you can get into some rainbow fish breeding.
Yeah, for sure. Because I'll probably have like, instead of using mops, I'll have because I'm going to have like the multi-level thing where I've got like a cliff that's higher to the water surface, and then I can probably put plants in there, and maybe they'll use that for breeding. But I mean, I don't
that'd be really cool
with like the bicher and the leporonus and stuff.
Well, I mean, it's surprising. Like, given enough like space for cover, I feel like any fish would be able to sort of thrive, because even in the tank that I'm breeding my bristlenose and like guppies and swordtails and everything in, there's a big giant betta in that tank, and he's like the little predator that swims around and like tries to eat everything. So I was like, why am I not getting any babies from any of the fish? And I realized the giant betta was probably hunting them all. So I added in like a bunch of plants and just made like a corner very hard to access for the giant betta. And now that area is just filled with babies. Like I've got so many guppies and swordtails in there now that I'm like having to catch them out and like put them in separate tanks to grow out. So yeah, it's cool.
Well, that's like Adrian with his fish room. Like he didn't even try to breed.
Exactly.
He just breed like crazy, just naturally.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just what's been happening now. Like after seeing that video of the fish room tour that you first did and then Nick did following, and just seeing like how his tanks are set up, it was so like inspirational in a way, because we're so used to seeing like all of these almost factory-esque, like crystal clear breeding tanks where it's like bare bottom, everything is like spick and span, and you're doing it in a very sort of procedural way of like spawning mop, moving them into a grow out system, and then moving them into the display. Whereas he's just got the parents, the fish, the babies, the eggs, everything in the one tank with like other species as well. It was just so interesting to see, which is what I've like tried to emulate in that breeding tank that I've set up now. I'm just like, let it do its own thing, let it get dirty, let it fill up with little fish, and let them grow out.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's an easier way to do it too, I think. I guess it really depends like what you're doing it for, but yeah, it's really cool. I think it's inspired so many people seeing Adrian's fish room. Like it's been so good.
It has.
Everyone. Yeah.
I did shoot him a message just saying that like your video has just been absolutely amazing to him, just like, and he's so humbling about it. He's like so happy about it as well.
He is.
Yeah. And when I heard it, like the amount of like the sheer volume of fish that he was breeding as well, like the couple of hundred Adolphi Corridoras that he had, I think it was like 180. He said in the video, and I was like, "That's nuts! I need to buy some." And so I was like, I asked him like, "Hey, can I like get some fish?" I wanted to support in some way, and I was like, "Hey, just let me know if you're selling anything. I'd love to get them."
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure he would love to do that. Like, and like you said, he's so humble. Like when I first met him, it was pure chance. There's a shop called Aussie Aquariums on the Gold Coast. And I was visiting my parents down there, and I just went in like 10 minutes before closing just to have a little browse before I headed back up to Brisbane. And Adrian walked in, and I'd never met him before, but he just came and introduced himself, and he was like, "Oh, I've just got a fish room. You know, just see some of your videos. They're quite nice. I know it's difficult to get content and stuff sometimes. So if you ever wanted to check out the fish room and do a video, feel free to." And then I just grabbed his number and we went from there. And he would send me like messages and show me pictures of the fish and stuff and be like, "Oh, just let me know if it's good enough. Like, I don't know if it's good enough and stuff. I'll prepare and like, I'll clean the algae and everything." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, like it's amazing. You don't have to worry about that at all." And then it's got cumulatively over 300,000 views. It must be approaching or something like that now.
Exactly.
Like, the 2 videos.
Yeah, it's crazy. But then, well, technically, Katie, that was you before this live stream, just making sure you're prepared, like full army force ready preparation, which is really good. Yeah. Ruzi has got a comment here. Did you hear about the Murray crayfish needing to be rescued after all the rains because it caused the water to become deoxygenated? I did see that actually. So yeah, because of all the flooding and like all the rain that happened, which you'd surprisingly think would help the water in a way, it kind of didn't. And all the Murray River crayfish, which I believe are either a protected species or they're endangered, they started to like basically leave the water because of how poor it was for them to live in it. So I think they started collecting them and then relocating them into more suitable habitats, which is kind of crazy. I mean, you'd sort of think like the rain and everything would help, but it sort of did the opposite for them, which was quite interesting.
Interesting. Yeah, it's crazy how quickly things can go wrong, like even in the wild, like if you just get things a bit off balance. I think it was like, there's a lake near here and it went disgusting. Like it smelled so bad and it was all green and everything. And I think the sole reason was that the like sprinkler thing broke, and so it wasn't oxygenating the water. And so just because like this algae took over and then depleted all of the oxygen like in the nighttime and stuff, and then fish died, and then there was like issues with ammonia and stuff, and it took forever for them to get the lake back and running just because one thing broke, the thing that was oxygenating it. It's crazy.
Yeah. And then Ruzi also, I recently found out that mollies are brackish water in the wild, so they can live in full fresh and full salt water. Yeah, it's crazy. Actually, like a lot of saltwater people use mollies in their tanks as a good algae eater, especially for all like the cyanobacteria or like dinos or all the string like hair algae that you can get in saltwater tanks. Mollies are like the go-to saltwater fish.
Yeah. Fish and Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think Fish Fam is like a communal place where you can just like share. I think there's an app by what they were saying. So you can like put in your link and it just like sends out notifications when your videos come out to people that are listed into it.
Oh, great. Okay, I'll have to look into it.
I will have to look into it as well because first time I've ever heard of it. Same thing about green spot puffers, and they live longer and happier in brackish water. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I don't have any other sort of major questions. Was there anything, Katie, that you wanted to sort of cover? Anything you wanted to ask, go over?
I was just looking at the comments. Let me just quickly go through. I think I missed some
Yeah,
again.
go for it.
There was one. Dylan said that he's had a blue tongue lizard Brutus that got to 53 centimeters. Oh my gosh! What? Wow, they can get so big.
That's like,
yeah,
that's like that. That's massive.
yeah.
No
That's
way.
and
I
then
thought they got to like 30 centimeters long and just like stopped.
they grow so quickly too. Like
Oh, really?
Yeah. Mine, I got it when it was like that big, and it's like probably that big now. I would say.
No way. Yeah.
Joe was saying, what fish would you want to try? I'm at a low point in the hobby currently and just lost a whole tank of goldfish. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, that's not good. Do you know what happened, Joe, to your fish?
Where is Joe's comment? I don't see it anywhere.
Well, it's so weird because you've been reading some and I can't see them. So I don't know if they're like. It should be above. It's between.
Are you seeing? Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think I believe some of them were retract. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, yeah. Joel, what fish would you want to try? Yeah. Okay.
And then Met's Dynasty said, Katie and Bodgie, hello.
Oh, hello.
Oh, yeah, and there's the Molly one. I think we just skipped a few.
Yeah, cool.
Cool. And then Rizzy.
On Amateur Aquatic Addiction, they can breed in full salt water as well. I've bred some mollies in a reef tank. It was a total accident, but they breed in salt water.
Yeah.
They're not the best fish to keep with corals. Oh, sorry, I cut you off. Yeah, go for it.
Oh, no, that's okay. I was going to say something just about, there's like a fish that you can get that's a brackish water fish. I think they're called mono sebays or something like that.
Yeah, mono argents and sea bays. So there's like the African mono, which is the sea bay, and the argent, which is Australian or like our local one.
Yeah, I think I like the argent ones better because they've got like the yellow on them, hey?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I think they convert to full salt water, so they start brackish, and then
No, yeah. Well, apparently they can live in either extreme. So they can live in full fresh, they can live in full salt and brackish. I think they prefer the salt in the water though. Like they prefer the salinity, so brackish to full salt. But they can be kept in full fresh as well. I believe with no sort of issues, but they can be kept in full fresh.
Yeah, no, I tried to keep some of the Sabay ones with my African cichlids like ages ago. But yeah, they didn't do very well. But I think some people
they're a very flighty fish from what I've heard. Like they're very sort of sensitive, and they're really skittish. So I think that might be an issue. Like the Melbourne Aquarium, they have both argents and sea bays, and they have them in with like the big saltwater crocodile. So it's like such a cool contrast. They've got a massive. He's like a 7 meter saltwater crocodile, and they've got like scats, mono argents, sea bays, spangled perch, all just like swimming around, and it's the most like coolest mix of fish.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. And then our aquatic universe with Mike says, hey all. Hey Mike.
Hey Mike. Dylan has I always love having chats with breeders, and breeders was massive. He used to be able to smash a 50-cent size snail in one bite, about as thick as my wrist. And cracking 2 tanks? That's crazy.
Wow. Oh, has anyone seen Reptile Discovery? I think that's the YouTube channel name. Oh, it's so good.
Yes.
Yeah. And they've got an alligator, and it's like the cutest thing ever. They have a live stream of it. It's on Twitch all of the time. So you can go watch. It's so cool.
That's adorable. I saw a video today of Jay's Prehistoric Pets. He has a YouTube channel as well. I think he's got like a pet store, or it's like a sort of lower end not lower end, but it's like a small public facility, like where you can come and view reptiles.
Cool.
And he was feeding his alligators today, and in like one of the videos, he's holding like a piece of chicken up to the alligator, and they're really docile, but it like fell out of the tank like as he was feeding it, because it's like raised up and there's a sliding door, like a glass sliding door, and he's feeding it, and it like literally leaped out of the tank on the floor, and it just started like walking around the pet store. And it was a massive alligator as well. Like it was a solid like 4-foot alligator, so it wasn't anything tiny. It was a big full-grown gator.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, I think that gators are a lot friendlier than crocodiles.
They are.
Like,
you would not want to mess with it. Yeah, like when I did my ocean youth program with the Melbourne Aquarium, like we got to go into the croc enclosure. Like we were still behind the gated fence and everything, and like you'd think like this guy he's a big, slow-looking crocodile, right? He doesn't move around much, but when it comes to feeding, the sheer amount of noise that it makes when it closes those jaws together is like it just makes you freeze like a minute. Like you have to process it because it sounds like a gunshot, but like 10 times louder.
Yeah, and is that the crocodile?
Yeah, at the Melbourne Aquarium. Yeah, the saltwater croc.
Yeah. No, they're cool.
He's got a crazy story to him as well. Like I believe he was in like the wild, and then he got too big, so he was like basically drowning. Oh no, he got too big, and then in a flood he like got into a farm and started eating some like expensive cows. So then they relocated him into a croc farm, and he just lived there for quite a few years. And then he got too big that he was basically drowning the females when he was trying to like mate with them, because it was a croc farm. So usually at that age, like at that size, crocs will pass away because of natural causes. Like they'll usually get into like territorial fights and get weak. He was in a farm, so he had nothing to worry about. And then they were either going to put him down or move him to an aquarium. And sea life just needed a croc at that point. So they were like, send us over to him. And he's huge.
I think I might have seen him when I went there. I think.
Yeah, you probably would have.
They have like a glass thing that you can look through, like on.
Exactly. Yeah, he's in there.
Yeah, that's cool.
Dylan's auntie's husband has a croc in their living room in a 12-foot tank. That's wild.
Yeah, wow.
That is wild. And can we please get a couple more likes? Yeah, guys, what's the like counter at? No, but if you are watching, it'd be really awesome if you could give it a like. 10 people have given us a big thumbs up, and there are 14 people watching. You guys are slacking. What is this?
I'll go and like it.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's all good. Yeah. Check out Jay's prehistoric pets. Yeah, he's got like anacondas and everything, and he just like casually hand feeds them and picks them up and all that. Yeah. Oh, there's a really cool water snake exhibit at the Melbourne Zoo. I saw that one as well. They've got a freshwater file snake. So these are like snakes, freshwater snakes. They can live basically their whole life underwater. I think they only come out like sea turtles to reproduce, or they lay their eggs in water as well. I can't remember. But they've got one at the Melbourne Zoo in a tank with like archerfish and everything. It looks so cool.
Nice. That's cool.
Yeah. But do you guys have any other questions? If not, we can wrap it up, Katie, if you want, or any other questions that you've got.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. I can't think of anything. I think we've covered lots.
Yeah, we did. But guys, by the way, if you haven't seen Katie's channel yet, because some of you did mention that you've seen her now for the first time, make sure you check her out. I've got all of Katie's socials in the description down below. So Instagram and YouTube. So make sure you check them out. Really awesome videos if you are into African cichlids, or you just want to get a new perspective of aquarium hobbies, plus fellow Aussie YouTuber. What are you doing? Support us. So yeah, that'd be really awesome. But thank you so much for tuning in. And the people that are watching us in the replay as well would be really great if you could give it a thumbs up, and for watching as well. But that's it. As always, stay happy, stay safe, stay Aussie Australian. Bodgie and Katie out.